396 species in genus Grevillea. February 26th. Grevillea, Grevillea, the spider flower, represents February 26th. Grevillea symbolizes innovation and resourcefulness. You have a creative mind and a unique approach to solving problems, inspiring those around you. What is a Grevillea? The genus Grevillea has always fascinated me with its unique, almost otherworldly flowers and its versatility in various landscapes. As a plant enthusiast, I've spent considerable time exploring this genus, which belongs to the family Proteaceae, a family known for its striking diversity and ecological significance. Grevillea species are native to Australia, with a few extending into nearby regions like New Guinea and Indonesia. They are celebrated for their vibrant flowers, ranging from soft creams and yellows to fiery reds and oranges. What makes them stand out for me is their adaptability. Whether I'm designing a drought-tolerant garden or looking to attract pollinators, Grevillea is often my go-to. The flowers are not just eye-catching, but also ecologically important. They produce nectar that attracts birds, bees, and even small mammals. Watching honeyeaters dart around my Grevillea robusta, commonly known as the silky oak, is always a treat. See full list at monsteraholic.com. Grevillea versus bottlebrush. Comparing Grevillea and bottlebrush, I find Grevilea's unique spider-like flowers more captivating and the plant overall easier to maintain. Grevillea versus callistemon. When it comes to Grevillea versus callistemon, I prefer the vibrant, bottlebrush-like flowers of callistemon and their ability to attract more birds to my garden. What do Grevillea seeds look like? Grevillea seeds are quite distinct, resembling small nuts or capsules. I remember the first time I collected seeds from my Grevillea plant. They were elongated and often had a tough outer shell. Handling them made me feel connected to the process of growth and propagation, which I find incredibly fulfilling. How to plant Grevillea? Planting Grevillea is relatively straightforward but requires attention to detail. I've found that preparing well-draining soil and ensuring the location receives plenty of sunlight are crucial steps for successful growth. Planting them at the right depth and spacing is essential for their root development and overall health. How to propagate Grevillea? Can you grow Grevillea from a cutting? Propagating Grevillea from cuttings is one of my favorite methods. And yes, you can definitely grow Grevillea from a cutting. Here's how I do it. First, I select a healthy stem from the parent plant, ensuring it's not too young or too old. Then, I make a clean cut just below a leaf node using sharp, sterilized pruners. Next, I remove any lower leaves to prevent rot and encourage root growth. After that, I dip the cut end in rooting hormone powder to stimulate root development. Finally, I plant the cutting in a well-draining mix, keep it moist, and place it in a warm, bright location. With patience and proper care, the cutting will develop roots and eventually grow into a new Grevillea plant. It's a rewarding process that allows me to expand my Grevillea collection while preserving the characteristics of my favorite varieties. How to prune Grevillea? Pruning Grevillea is essential for maintaining its shape and promoting healthy growth. I've learned that it's best to prune after flowering to encourage new growth and prevent the plant from becoming too leggy. Removing dead or diseased branches also helps keep the plant vigorous and attractive. Is Grevillea toxic to cats? Is Grevillea toxic to dogs? As much as I love Grevillea, I'm always cautious about its potential toxicity to my furry friends. After researching, I discovered that while Grevillea isn't considered highly toxic to cats or dogs, it's still best to prevent them from ingesting any part of the plant to avoid potential digestive issues. When to prune Grevillea? Knowing when to prune Grevillea is key to promoting optimal growth and flowering. I've found that pruning lightly after the main flowering period encourages bushier growth and more prolific blooms in the following season. However, avoiding heavy pruning during the flowering period is essential to prevent cutting off potential flower buds. Where to buy Grevillea plants? Finding quality Grevillea plants can sometimes be a challenge, but I've had success sourcing them from reputable nurseries and online plant stores. Visiting local garden centers or attending plant sales organized by botanical gardens are also great ways to find a diverse selection of Grevillea varieties. Why is my Grevillea leaves turning brown? When my Grevillea leaves started turning brown, I was initially concerned and sought advice on how to address the issue. Through trial and error, I learned that brown leaves can be a sign of various problems, including overwatering, underwatering, or fungal diseases. Adjusting watering practices and improving soil drainage helped alleviate the issue for me. Can you grow Grevillea in a pot? Growing Grevillea in a pot is entirely feasible and can be a great option for those with limited garden space or wanting to control the plant's growth. I've successfully grown Grevillea in pots by using a well-draining potting mix, providing adequate sunlight, and regularly fertilizing during the growing season. Can you propagate Grevillea in water? While some plants can be propagated in water, I've found that Grevillea is best propagated using other methods, such as cuttings or seeds. Attempting to propagate Grevillea in water hasn't yielded significant success for me, as the plant seems to prefer well-draining soil for root development. How to germinate Grevillea seeds. Germinating Grevillea seeds can be a rewarding but somewhat challenging process. I've had success by scarifying the seeds to break their tough outer shell and soaking them in water overnight before planting them in a well-draining mix. Providing warmth and consistent moisture helps facilitate germination, but patience is key as it can take several weeks for the seeds to sprout. How to save a dying Grevillea. Saving a dying Grevillea can be a race against time, but with prompt action and proper care, it's possible to revive the plant. Assessing the cause of decline, whether it's due to overwatering, underwatering, or pests, is crucial for implementing the right treatment. Trimming away dead or diseased parts, adjusting watering practices, and providing appropriate fertilization can help bring a dying Grevillea back to health. Why is my Grevillea leaves turning yellow? When my Grevillea leaves started turning yellow, I knew there was an underlying issue that needed attention. Yellowing leaves can indicate various problems, such as nutrient deficiencies, water stress, or pests. Through observation and experimentation, I was able to identify and address the issue, whether it was adjusting watering frequency, applying fertilizer, or treating for pests, ultimately restoring the plant's vitality.